A kid must use his newfound powers to stop a villain from ruining the city and ruining his chances at getting a date to the dance.
Welcome to the Walt Vault with
Michelle,
Andre,
Luis,
and me, Emily. We're a family-friendly podcast where we pick a new Disney movie each week. We watch it, share our thoughts, and then relate it to pop culture, fandoms, and anything else that pops into our heads. Enjoy!
hello and welcome to the Walt Vault, episode 72. What's up, y'all? We're out here. I would like to make a formal apology because
For what?
This week we are talking about 2017's Spider-Man: Homecoming, which is not a Disney movie.
it's a Marvel movie and Disney owns Marvel.
Correct. Who owns Spider-Man?
Sony.
That's right. This movie was released by Sony, distributed by Sony, but was produced by Marvel Studios, which is owned by
Close
Disney.
enough.
So Disney made the movie. They didn't make any money off of it at all. So all of this is...
No money for you, Disney.
Yeah. Non-Disney money. Sony money. Sony money movie. So we're breaking a rule, but... It's
You know
Spider-Man,
what?
So...
I just...
breaking all the rules.
It
But
doesn't
it has
matter.
the Marvel beginning,
True. It has
so
Marvel
I'm going to call it a Marvel movie. I don't...
I saw like Sony
Was
logos.
Stan Lee
There
in
was like
it?
a Sony
Yes.
logo and then like a Columbia Pictures logo, and I was like, "Oh snap, that's right. This isn't Disney."
But is Disney technically probably still making money off of Spider-Man?
Disney?
Oh
yes.
yes, yes, absolutely.
So, it is what it
they
is.
have a
If you mad, take your complaints with Andre.
they have a good deal going, and that's how this whole movie got off the ground. I'm just gonna jump into some background because there's kind of a lot.
Do it.
So like, they were shooting like the Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 and whatnot, and they were going to do a third one of those, but it wasn't doing as well as Sony was wanting. And then Sony's emails got hacked.
Surprise, surprise.
Do you remember that? Do you remember Sony's emails getting hacked? That was a couple
don't
years ago.
remember that.
It was in like 2014 or 2015 or something like that. So the emails got hacked, and in it, the emails were detailing very specific stuff about Spider-Man and his future going forward. They were saying like, they don't really like dealing with Andrew Garfield, who played Spider-Man before Tom Holland did, and that they didn't like the direction that the movies are going because they weren't making that much money. So they devised a new plan of having live-action Spider-Man and animated Spider-Man, and they said that the live-action had to be Peter Parker, and he had to be a good old boy and not say any swears or smoke any cigarettes or whatever, and that the animated could be Peter Parker or Miles Morales or Spider-Women or any other kind of spider characters, and that's what they were going to do going forward. And then after those emails got leaked and people realized that Amazing Spider-Man 3 was like never going to happen, I think that's when Disney kind of swooped in and started getting the ball rolling for getting Spider-Man hooked up into the Marvel Universe.
And let's be real. I will say it now that Tom Holland as Spider-Man is 10,000 million bajillion times better than Tobey Maguire. Take your complaints up with Andre Morton.
What?
If you have a complaint about that, then you just straight tripping.
Yeah,
Dude, you're
is
going to
no-
get Andre beat up, man.
There is no
Andre
other-
likes Tobey Maguire.
I
What
have,
is wrong with you?
Okay, wait, listen.
No.
If
But
I have to
tell me-
justify...
Tell me what is wrong with you.
No.
Let's let Andre finish, but I just want to throw this out there for our fans. My husband is the biggest Spider-Man fan I have ever met my entire life, to the point
Me?
that he has played the Spider-Man PS4 game through
Oh,
I don't
dude.
know how many times,
That's about
but he's
7.
constantly swinging from buildings. So this movie is going to be near and dear to him. Continue.
This movie is great. On the Tobey Maguire tip, Tobey Maguire played the first Spider-Man, in case you weren't aware. If you weren't alive,
we're aware.
If you weren't alive in 2001.
Boo.
I was alive in 2001. I was 10 years old, and Spider-Man was my favorite character. So that's why I like Tobey Maguire. Because it was a solid movie.
Was it?
Yes. It's solid.
I disagree.
Okay.
No, here's the deal. The movie was actually pretty good. Tobey Maguire was the problem.
Right. Yeah.
He's the problem.
He's not Spider-Man.
he's
Spider-Man's a kid.
He's very flat. He's a little too old, and I don't know. His Peter Parker performance is mostly whispers. He's like, I don't know, Mary Jane. I'm just so sorry about what happened to Aunt May. I'm just James Franco is my best friend, and I don't know what to do. So
James Franco, though.
that is the Spider-Man of old. We were talking about the Spider-Man of new. So Disney got hooked up with Sony. They have a mutual deal where Spider-Man can be used in, I believe, as many as Tom Holland is available for, as many Marvel MCU movies that they can fit him into, and Marvel will make all of Sony's Spider-Man standalone movies, but Sony will take all the money from the standalone movies, and Disney will take all the money from the overall Marvel movies, and Sony won't get a cut.
So Sony doesn't
Sounds
get a
pretty
cut of like Infinity War or anything
Correct.
like that since Spider-Man's in it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Well,
they
just
get all
have
the
him for
profits for Homecoming and Far From
And
Home.
Far From
That's
Home.
going to come
Yes,
out. Okay.
correct.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, and Into the Spider-Verse and
And I
Venom
mean,
and
Spider-Man's in the parks. You know, he's
Yeah.
doing well. And people, I'm pretty sure the general consensus of all is that Tom Holland is an amazing Spider-Man.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So
Yes.
Have you heard anyone, and not anyone in particular,
Just
but
normally,
in general,
no.
I feel
No.
like people like
I haven't heard anybody that I know of or even seen anything posted from like the millions of Disney Instagrams I follow say anything bad about Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
No.
So this is my first impression of this movie.
Yes.
Amazing. I
Spider-Man.
love
Good
Tom
adjective.
Holland as Spider-Man, period. He makes the character all the better for me. I have some gripes with the villain.
What? Gripes?
He's
Excuse
not
you?
my favorite, but the movie overall is amazing, and just seeing
Andre is
Spider-Man's
so
character
gassed
arc
over here.
and him mature, and I'm so excited for the next one. Emily, first impression.
I really liked this movie. I went into it watching it because I knew Andre had said it was really good because he was so excited,
Yeah.
even though I didn't quite trust you because you like Tobey Maguire.
What, like I could be biased or something
And I
like
didn't
that?
want to see it for the same reason. I was like, I'm not seeing another Spider-Man movie. My husband made me sit through 1 and 2, and this sucked.
You didn't even have to sit through 3. You count yourself lucky.
Honestly, though, he is so good
Yes.
that the
Very
movie
good.
is really good. I mean, the movie's fine. It's a good movie, but he is literally so cute, so
He's a shining
lovable. You love him from the moment he steps in.
And
on
like
the
he is
screen.
Spider-Man to me because Spider-Man's supposed to be a kid
He's very
in high
yes.
school, and that's
yeah.
it's just so fitting.
Yes.
I mean, Spider-Man goes through various stages of life, but yes,
Okay,
his
okay.
most
For
important
this stage.
is
Well, the
when he's a
cutest part
teenager.
of him is right now.
It's right now, yeah. Luis, first impression.
I only remember Spider-Man in college, based off of the cartoon.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the one I
the
grew
90s
up with,
cartoon,
yeah.
yeah, he was in college.
It was an awesome
basically the whole
movie.
time.
Tom Holland is awesome as Spider. He, like you say, Mr. Michelle, he is Spider-Man.
He is Spider-Man. If I saw Tom
Mhm.
Holland in real life, I'd be like, "What's up, Spider-Man?" It just is what it is.
What's up, Spider-Man?
Andre, I guess first impression.
First impression of this movie is oh wait. I was about to say it is the best Spider-Man movie, but I'm going to caveat that and say it is the best live-action Spider-Man movie.
Because I know you really like the
Because
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse is
Andre's
on
obsessed.
another level.
It's very good too.
But when this came out, I was worried because the first Spider-Man series with Tobey Maguire ended very poorly. Spider-Man 3 was a travesty, and then
Which probably sucks for you because you love him as a superhero, like
Correct.
from the comics, and
Oh,
to
yes.
see him on screen, be like,
I was devastated for all of 2007.
Aw.
But then the Amazing Spider-Man series came out, and it was really samey. It was like the first movie was exactly the same as the first Tobey Maguire movie, except it had Andrew Garfield, who was
I never have seen those ones.
No, you have not. Which is an okay adaptation, I guess, but it didn't offer anything new really.
Yeah.
And then the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was loaded with too many characters, and it was kind of wild and all over the place. So this was like the third attempt. They're going to do another Spider-Man movie.
Like
And
we're gonna start over
I
with
think that's
another
why I wasn't
Spider-Man.
excited was
Yeah.
because I was like,
Oh, me
why
too.
in the world?
here we go again.
And I don't think I realized how I knew Spider-Man's cool. Like the story is really cool. Like we know he gets bit by a radioactive spider and blah 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 blah. But because I've never seen it on screen be cool, and I'm not a comic person. I mean, I love Marvel, but I don't read the comics, so I'm not a nerd on that level into the universe, you know what I mean? So I'm only seeing characters as they're portrayed on screen. And if the actor is portraying the character in a way that's I don't like, then I'm like not a huge fan of that superhero. So
Sure.
it kind of sucks, you know?
These are your first exposures to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Whereas I think Luis was talking about earlier, the cartoons. Like there were a lot of cartoons when I was growing up. There was a Spider-Man cartoon, there was X-Men cartoons, there was an Avengers cartoon, and an Iron Man cartoon, I think.
Which whenever I see them on cartoons, I want to cringe because I'm not a cartoon person,
Right.
so that's just not my jam.
So that's another entry point. But for this movie, when I actually saw it, I was blown away. I had loved seeing Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War, and I was ready for more. And then he delivered on basically all cylinders. The only problem that I have with this movie is it doesn't have quite as much Spider-Man action as I wanted it to have, I think. But that I think
he'll mature
I
and
think
show
it gave
more.
an
Yes.
opportunity for the next couple
yes,
movies.
they have room
in
to
Infinity
grow
War
for sure.
and in Endgame, you
Yeah.
know, he got more action, and I think this next one is gonna have more.
Yes. Which
So
we'll talk
here's-
about later.
Okay. I'm a tone person, which I mean, I guess a lot of people are. I think like, for example, me and Andre are very opposite when it comes to movie watching.
Yeah.
Sure.
He can like a movie if it starts out slow. Like he'll be like, it's getting there, and then it got there, and he'll like it still.
Yeah.
If I'm not like into it, then I'm like, it was crap, right?
Turn this on.
Oh,
Like,
really? Not
yes.
even if the ending is epic?
It's gonna like not be as epic for me, even if it was epic. Does that make
Because
sense?
what you're saying right now is exactly how I felt about Rogue One. I went to the theater and was like, this movie's slow. This movie sucks. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And then the last 45 minutes came, and now it's my favorite Star Wars movie.
Is that the
So
one
it's
with
kinda
on the
like-
beach?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, I felt the exact same
But
way.
now it's my favorite Star Wars movie.
no,
you
it's
know?
not mine because
okay.
because it
Because it
was
starts
epic.
slow.
It was epic at the end. You're right.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I was
Okay,
like,
okay.
oh my god.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the point is that it loses the epicness.
Okay.
So with that said, when it starts out extremely dynamic, like I think back to Guardians of the Galaxy, that first scene with, well, not the first scene, but the second
The
scene
music.
where Quill is singing and everything
Kind of.
gets you. I just was sailing on that
Right.
You were
scene.
sold, yeah.
That's how I felt in this movie.
Flies
Oh,
over the
good.
moon.
When he is recapping,
He's vlogging.
he's vlogging.
Oh, it's so funny.
I don't think I have laughed that hard
It's
every
so
time I
good.
watch it. I like die. It is so freaking
And
hilarious.
It's hilarious, and this is what I love
'Cause
about
he's such a
Tom
kid.
Holland at Spider-Man is he is a teenage boy. He is
Oh.
a kid,
Oh, yeah.
and he's a big fat nerd, but he's a
100%.
cute kid, and he's wonderful. So anytime there's these little bits of funny like that, oh, it is so great.
I love it. My favorite parts about him, like you're saying, is his childlike
The childlike,
nature.
yeah.
When he's anytime it shows a clip of him like acting out
Right.
something that happened, like
I'm Thor.
oh Thor, or like
Oh my god, I died
and,
during
and
that.
then I took Cap's shield and I was like, "Hi guys," and then he said underoos and it's
Oh, I literally cannot. Oh yeah, and he's just filming. He's filming himself the whole time, just like happy. Oh God, what's happening? Oh, someone's coming. Hold on, and he puts it down. But he's just a kid through and through.
That-
And I just fully believe, like, God, Tom Holland, you're a genius actor. I don't know. He just is Spider-Man to me.
Him-
Like,
Him vlogging throughout
oh, it's so
throughout
funny.
the beginning is such a very good modernization of Spider-Man
And
as
a
a
good
young teenager.
recap of what just happened in the other movie.
Yes,
In
that-
case you
that as
didn't
well.
see it, you would at least kind of know what's going on.
Right? Yeah.
Underoos.
But it's a really good modernization of Spider-Man because like in the comics and in the cartoons he's a photographer, and what he does is he sells pictures of Spider-Man to the Daily Bugle. So he's basically just taking selfies all day for the most part.
my God.
Oh,
So them
interesting.
updating it to like he's just gonna record everything he does and put it out there and be funny in it and be silly and be a wisecracking nonsensical
It's epic. And
child.
I'll have you know, which I haven't said that in a while.
I'll have you know.
I'm such an idiot for thinking this. Andre had to explain to me what an underoo was. I didn't know what an
Underoos.
underoos.
A pair of underoos.
Okay, I realize what it is now, but I thought that
A
they were
underoo,
always
one.
saying on the roof, like on the roof, because Spider-Man jumps on the top of buildings.
On the roof.
So I
Definitely
thought-
calls him underoos.
So I thought he was like on the roof, and Andre was like, no, because Iron Man has nicknames for everyone.
Yeah.
And I was like, he does? Like, I don't even.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
always-
clench up, Legolas.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just didn't know what underoos were, and then Andre
Reindeer
showed
games.
me.
You don't
Nice
remember
swing
this?
point break. Yeah, all he does is nicknames.
Well,
Underoos.
I thought you said on the roof, so it wasn't a good nickname.
On the roof.
It's okay. I know what underoos are
The
now.
boy wears long underwear, like underoos. Spider-Man underoos, which I owned when I was a child. What?
Did you really?
I bet.
I'm sure he
I
did.
did.
Our future child is so screwed.
I owned a lot. I mean, they're not screwed. They're getting hooked up with Spider-Man underoos.
They're gonna have a whole. They're gonna get to choose. So they're gonna have like 10 different Spider-Man outfits. Do I want to be Miles Morales? I'm
Right,
not gonna
yeah.
be the Iron Spider.
Exactly. Yeah, dark suit. Yes. So let's begin going through the movie.
So at this, for this, I feel like the other Spider-Man movies, we get the whole like, "Ow, I'm bit by a spider," and like all this stuff. We
My
don't really
body's
get that
changing.
here.
I freaking love that all we get is I got bit by a spider, the spider's dead.
Because I don't need to know
Boom.
it again.
Move
And Andre
on.
and I talked about this before. Every time there's a new Batman origin story, we gotta hear and see how his parents died. I just don't care anymore.
gonna be a-
Like
it's
that
gonna
sounds
be a new one.
bad.
Bro, I was
But
sad the
Spider-Man-
first time, and now I
Spider-Man,
just
I know you got bit by a radioactive spider, and I don't care. So thanks for just telling us you got bit by a spider. I was really cool with that,
Oh,
and that was it.
dude.
You know?
Speaking of Batman, you guys, we haven't even mentioned Michael Keaton is in this movie. He's the
He is
main
Batman.
villain. He's the Batman. The Batman and the Spider-Man are in the same movie, and I just freaking out. Oh my god!
They couldn't hear you, but he's freaking out, guys.
I mean, they heard a little bit.
Yeah, so Michael Keaton is, what's his villain name?
His name is Adrian Toomes. He is the Vulture.
The Vulture. I don't know why I was going to say the Falcon. I mean, I know there's a Falcon
He's a
already.
different guy.
The Vulture.
Different wingsuit.
Okay, he's okay. He's not my favorite supervillain. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I mean, sure, that's a fine opinion to
Just
have.
the villain in itself.
Right.
Like, I'm like a more of a like a Joker type of villain. Like, let's be villain. You know, he was just a villain.
He
He's like a
was-
normal dude villain.
Yeah, he was a normal dude villain,
Yeah.
which I think is why I liked him so much. He was very down to earth.
He's an amazing actor. He did a great job.
and he actually was kind of a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He was looking out for his
was
family.
doing it for his family.
So we
supposedly,
kind of
and-
get the first scene before all of the vlogging happens
Yes.
is at the end of Avengers.
Yep.
So Avengers happened, New York got attacked, and basically they're hiring cleanup crews to like clean up all the alien stuff.
Yeah.
And Stark created a company
called
called
Damage Control.
Damage Control. You said that's from the comics.
That is from the comics. They are a literal cleanup crew. They clean up after superhero battles and stuff like that. But they're really encroaching in upon Michael Keaton and his whole crew, and they shut him down. And Michael Keaton decides to steal some stuff and then continue stealing stuff. And
Basically,
build
he
some
makes
suits
his
and-
own weapons from alien tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is
And sells them on the black market.
also cool.
Quite lucrative.
Yeah.
Which is smart,
Absolutely.
honestly. I mean, as long as you don't get caught, right?
Yeah.
So-
And this is a very different take on the Vulture than what was in the comics. The Vulture is classically like a really old man who was like a scientist, and then he was like wronged by his company, which sometimes was like Oscorp or something like that, and decides to strike out on his own and develop a wingsuit, and then go and destroy the company that destroyed his life or whatever. And sometimes he like invents like a serum to make himself younger because he's a really
Yeah,
old,
so they didn't really do any of
crotchety
that.
old
They made
man.
him like just like a normal dad,
Yeah.
normal life.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen. There's aliens here now, and I'm gonna
Take
profit off
advantage.
of it. You know,
I think the reason I kind of like the idea of the way that they took this character in is that Tony Stark really is like the pinnacle of someone that you would hate.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
oh, for sure. I've hated him for years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like in real life, though. I mean, he's like he is rude. He is very obviously, you know, full of himself, and he
Yeah.
has the money to then clean up the messes that he makes.
Right.
So, for a person who really is just trying to like make it, feed their family, do their thing, they would look at Tony Stark like
Ugh.
they're
You're the
hatred.
worst.
you're ruining my life.
Everything.
You
Yes.
know, so I like that kind of effect because it does make no sense that people wouldn't be upset.
Right. Yeah.
Like, of course, they would be upset that their homes are like broken because
Bunch of
The
superheroes
Chitauri
had
or
a big
whatever they were
fight, and then
called.
Sokovia
Right, yeah.
Accord tap in,
and
but you
then
know
he
that's
gets to
farther
make
down.
the money off of it, like cleaning up. the
Y'all
tech.
making money off it. This is why we signed the Sokovia Accords. Okay. Anyways, so
Exactly.
it escalates quickly. You know.
Yeah.
So the funniest thing to me now is Spider-Man's just back home, right? After getting a preemptive taking Cap's shield, right? He's so cool. He's like,
after
got to
Civil
live
War.
like the coolest life as a 14-year-old kid 15-year-old kid under Tony Stark's wing, and now he's just back in high school
For like
and
a week.
The poor kid is not having it, and Happy's not having it either, man.
Yeah, he has to report into Happy on all his superhero duties.
Well, he has to. I guess he doesn't have to
He really
as
doesn't
frequently
have
as
to.
he does. Do you see when he's texting him like, "Hey, Happy," and there's like freaking like 20 text messages to Happy and no
There was at least
replies.
75, dude.
God,
it was
so
rough.
bad. And I'm thinking in my head
So
like,
funny.
no, calm down,
And
Peter.
then he's like, it's Peter
Parker.
Spider-Man.
It's a Spider-Man. All right, let me know when there's another mission.
And that's another really interesting take on this movie, that like Spider-Man is really like a junior hero. He's not he's not up to
he's
snuff,
not-
even though he's had his powers for near on like 8 months at this point or something like that.
Yeah, but he's a kid.
Whereas in the comics, he starts out at 15 and he's a superhero and he does his own thing, and then eventually he meets up with the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, and he tries to get in and they don't let him in because he's a kid and he sucks, and and they hate him
And
because
it's
he's
not,
annoying.
And I think the way Tony Stark
And
makes
quippy.
it seem
Yeah.
is like the other guys were like, no, and I was like, I'm going to take a chance on you. But Tony Stark is still impeding his abilities, right? What he puts the baby protocol on his suit.
Right.
He puts
Training
training
wheels.
wheels protocol.
Yeah. But he doesn't take the time to like
And,
explain
it's
any of
just-
that to
no,
him or anything
which
like
is
that.
totally Tony Stark,
Just
right?
go out there, keep it
just
low
to
key.
be like, here you go. I have the secret plan behind my back about how I'm
Stop
going to
some
train you
small
to be a
crimes.
superhero, but you don't need to know about it.
Yeah.
So for him, he's like dying, right? He has all these superhero powers, and he got a taste of what it might be like, and then he's in a classroom. So I don't blame him. Like, that's just, it's funny to me.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite, besides the vlogging, is probably my favorite montage of the movie is when he's like
waiting for the bell to ring.
He's waiting for the bell to ring, and then he goes and gets his sandwich and then becomes Spider-Man for like the afternoon.
Yes.
And
After
he's
school.
doing the stupidest stuff. It is so funny.
Whose bike is this? Anybody lost a bike? And he just writes notes
He writes
on
notes.
things. He writes
Your
notes
friendly
on
neighborhood
everything.
Spider-Man.
Family neighborhood
he
Spider-Man.
like helps the lady with directions. She buys him a churro. Like,
and he has to tell Happy that too. Oh, he bought me a churro. And
why
and
did I
he's-
tell him that?
And he's only like kind of famous at this point, so the dude on the ground, he's like, "Hey, you're Spider-Man." He's like, "Yeah." He's
he's
"Do
like,
a
"Do a
flip." Yeah, Spider-Man.
He's literally like a guy from YouTube that you might have seen
Right.
like a couple months
Oh,
ago.
dude, you won't believe what I saw from YouTube today. It was Spider-Man.
Oh God.
He webbed my hand to my car and then kind of beat me up a little bit.
It's just so, I can't even. It's so funny. Gosh, I love it. And then I guess he is starting to get a taste of a little bit of the real world. What are you gonna say, Louis?
My favorite parts were they're in the car. The guy's getting into his car and he thinks he's stealing it.
Oh, when he thinks the guy is stealing his car,
Yeah.
and he webs him up. He's
And
like,
he
"This is
webs him
my
up and starts a
car."
big
Oh,
old-
yeah.
He's like,
And then
"My
Stanley's,
car, you
this
idiot."
is my car.
Yeah, that's a Stanley cameo.
And everyone's like, get mind your own business. He's like, I'm sorry.
He's just awkward.
It's his car.
He's an awkward superhero.
Yeah.
Which is
But you know
hilarious.
what I like?
I love him.
Even though he's awkward, it's funny awkward, but they didn't overquip him because you
Yeah.
know how he's supposed to have like
Just
these
like a motor
one-liners
mouth.
and things.
Mhm.
He wasn't annoying. He was just
No.
like. He wasn't even like overly needy. It was they did a perfect job
Yeah.
with him.
It
They
was
did a
really
perfect job, and then
mellow.
I also
Because every other Spider-Man I've been like,
I
oh my
attribute
God,
it
stop.
to Tom Holland's acting because they could not cast a more perfect person. You know, it could be written exactly the same and been somebody else, and it could be completely different. You know, like
Because I
cast-
Yeah.
didn't think he was annoying.
casting
at
is
all.
everything.
I thought it was funny.
But you can tell how other people think he's annoying.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like especially the Vulture at one point.
Well, and Happy.
Yes, and to Happy.
Oh, to Happy, of course.
Yeah.
Poor Happy.
What I
God,
just
I love
just
Happy.
realized that he was
Uncle
like
Happy.
he was like reporting into Happy on all of his like doings and
Like
superhero stuff
24/7.
24/7, but like the suit has telemetry built all throughout
But he
it
doesn't
and it
know
records
that.
everything, so he doesn't have to report.
Well,
Tony
and-
Stark can pull up a video of what Spider-Man is doing at any time.
And
he
Tony
doesn't
Stark
know
does.
that. That's why
he
it's
does.
funny.
They really are keeping tabs on him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
God,
it's
it's so
funny. So he kind of gets into a riff with some robbers that are trying to rob a bank, and he's
dressed
like,
like the
"Oh, I guess I'll
Avengers."
find the Avengers." So dramatic.
Yeah.
So that's when we're discovering this tech. So this tech that's used to build,
the
I guess, alien
Right.
weapons,
That
kind
Vulture and
of.
his crew
You know,
are
I thought it was
building.
like Tesseract tech, but I guess it's not.
No, it's all just stuff from like the Shatari, and then they expounded a little bit. I think they went to Sokovia at some point, got some stuff from there,
Yeah.
so probably some Ultron parts, And then
Well, we saw Ultron's head at some point. in the
Yes,
movie.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
What else did they do? I don't remember what other.
I
other
think
sites
that's what
they've
he's
gone
doing.
to,
Is
but
he's just scavenging
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah, they're
different.
all the
scavenging.
Avengers missions that they go
for
to.
cleanup crew
So it's
stuff.
actually
there.
ending up being pretty lucrative. these
Yeah.
major-
So yeah,
And
so
that
it's-
cool stuff.
So something like legit actually happens to him, and he tries to communicate it with Happy and Tony Stark, and they're still kind of like, meh, do the baby stuff.
Right. He's like, there
You
are
know?
people who are handling this. This is above your pay grade. Just keep it friendly. Keep it neighborhood. Keep it Spider-Man.
I
mean,
will
he
say,
doesn't get paid. So.
I will say that I keep saying my favorite part. Okay, I gave you my first part, my second part. The third part is the interaction with the gentleman who's trying to buy the guns. Okay, because
Yes.
he has two different interactions with him, and both of them are
Great.
just perfection.
Oh,
Yes.
Childish
Okay.
Gambino.
Yeah.
Oh, is that who it
Gambino.
is?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's Donald Glover.
Okay, so he's like standing there and he's like, he's trying to get a gun to do it like a holdup. Literally, that's what he wants. And he's like, I'm not trying to blast him into space.
It's like, I'm not
He's
trying
like,
to shoot
"Quit
him
trying
back
to
in
upsell
time.
me."
He's
trying to upsell me, yeah.
He's so pissed off. It's so funny. So
Uh,
that was hilarious. But when Spider-Man goes back and sees him
Oh,
later
yeah. To interrogate him.
to interrogate him, he's
And
like,
he puts on that voice.
He's like-
Interrogation mode.
he's like, you need to get better at this part of the job. And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, you've obviously never done this before.
Well, and it's even more funny because Tom Holland has a very high-pitched voice.
Yes, he
Yes.
does.
And so when they do the interrogation mode voice and when they turn that off and then I hear Tom Holland's actual voice, he sounds like a 10-year-old kid.
I mean,
like
yeah,
he literally
but
sounds.
British.
And then he's like, he's like, I know you're a girl.
I'm not a girl.
I know his body language is always the best too. Like, oh, I'm not a girl.
But then I like how he's like, thanks for that. And he goes to leave, like he's leaving him, his hands all stuck to the car, and he's like,
Hey, you can't
no,
leave me
no,
here."
get back over here and fix this.
It'll
and he's
dissolve
like,
in 2
no. He's like, I got ice cream in the trunk. And he's like,
And Tom Holland,
You're a criminal.
Spider-Man's
You're a
just
criminal. Bye.
You're a criminal. You deserve that. Bye. Literally.
I've got
Oh,
Childish
hilarious.
Gambino facts about Spider-Man as well.
Yes.
So,
so good.
in between them making Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man, there was like announced that they were going to make more Spider-Man movies, and Donald Glover was like petitioned to be like the new Peter Parker. Like people wanted, it was hashtag Donald for Spider-Man. It was
Really?
it was
He wanted to
everywhere.
be Peter Parker or Miles Morales.
The internet wanted him to be Peter Parker. This is
Oh.
before Miles Morales ever exists.
Oh,
So-
really? Miles Morales is that new?
Miles Morales is pretty new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're campaigning for him. They're trying to get him in the movie, and it just doesn't happen. You know, Sony hires Andrew Garfield,
Yeah.
and then it like moves on from there. From there,
So that was years ago then.
that was a few years ago. It was probably like 2011 or something
Yeah.
like that. But from there, Miles Morales is created, and a writer says that Donald for Spider-Man is a direct inspiration for that. And then
Wow.
Donald Glover plays Miles Morales in one of the animated Spider-Man cartoons. He just does a voice. And then he ends up in this movie playing...
As Miles Morales' uncle, right?
Yes, playing Aaron Davis,
Mhm.
Miles Morales' uncle. So it's a long journey for Childish
dude.
Gambino
He's
to
also
almost be
hard.
Spider-Man.
he's also Simba
Yes, he is
in
about
the
to be
new
Simba in the
upcoming
Lion
live
King.
action.
Oh.
Mhm.
That's who voices Simba.
Yeah,
So,
All right.
kid Simba or adult Simba?
adult Simba.
Adult Simba.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, there you freaking go.
With Beyonce.
Yeah,
With Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Okay, so while all of this is happening and he's discovering these new things, he's still in school.
Yeah, he's very much dealing
still
with
very
real life.
much dealing with real life and teenage issues. His best friend Ned just found out he's Spider-Man and dropped his Death Star everywhere.
Very funny.
He has a
scene.
Ned
crush on
is
this
too
girl.
funny.
Ned is very funny. He has lots of friends. So Ned is his best friend,
Mhm.
who's basically quote unquote the guy in the chair.
Yes.
Eventually, guy in the chair. I love it. They have like this crazy secret handshake. You know,
Yes.
It
and they're
goes on
just
much longer than it needs to.
much longer than
You
it
think
needs
it's
to.
done?
But they're best friends forever. But I have a question for Luis. So Luis, what did you think about the Flash?
The Flash.
The Flash.
Gosh.
The Flash. His friend. The Flash.
Flash Gordon is his, or not Flash
His
Gordon.
name
Flash
is Flash?
Thompson is his name.
His real name is
Flash, the bully.
Yeah,
He wants
Flash.
to, you want to know about Zero.
he's pretty funny.
Oh, you liked him? Okay. I was like, is Luis gonna like this kid?
You said the Flash, and I'm
Right,
like,
yeah,
the
you
Flash
said the
isn't in this
Flash.
movie.
Sorry, he goes by Flash.
Because
Yes.
Luis loves the Flash.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
I thought you
That's
had
why I thought it was funny that his name was Flash.
a
Okay.
question about different
So
superhero.
this is funny though, because that the guy who plays that character is
Tony Revolori, I think is his name.
Is that his name?
Yes.
I have no idea. He was the main character in a movie that Luis loves beyond compare.
Oh, really?
Like, Luis, how much do you love Grand Budapest Hotel?
Oh, that's right. That's him.
I've never seen that
He
movie.
plays, I think his name is Zero in that movie. And Luis loves that movie beyond compare.
Yes, his name is Zero.
When we saw him in this movie, we were like, "Oh my God, it's him!" But then he ended up being like funny because he was like funny in that other movie,
a very
but awkward
different
funny.
character than Zero from Grand Budapest Hotel.
So anywho, I think that he couldn't not like him.
Yeah,
Do you know
because
what I
of
mean?
that. Okay.
So
I've
Flash-
never
I do like
seen
how
that
he
movie.
calls him Penis Parker. I won't lie.
Flash is
Penis
another
Parker!
very good modernization of a bully in high school now. Whereas in the comics, Flash he's a jock. He plays football. He beats up nerds. He stuffs them in lockers.
But this is
and
a
stuff
nerdy
like that.
tech school.
Yes, this is a nerdy
Yeah.
tech school. So he's kind of just like a jerk,
top-
a rich
Well,
jerk.
like a rich jerk.
Yes.
Which
He's
is
like
funny.
he's driving the Audi to the dance.
DJ Flash.
When I say penis, you say Parker.
Penis Parker.
Ridiculous. Which that dance is another story. It's so funny.
Yes.
Well, freaking Ned, my hat.
It gives me confidence.
It
gives me confidence.
I like how Aunt May is like,
You're really wearing that hat.
No, she says, some hats wear people.
Oh, yeah.
You really wear that hat. Man. Oh my God. He looks like
Thanks, Miss
Freddy effing Krueger.
And it's so funny because the only reason they got invited to this party is because freaking Ned yelled to everybody that Peter Parker knew Spider-Man.
Peter knows Spider-Man.
And the
That's
girl that
true.
Peter Parker has a crush on, she likes Spider-Man. So
Liz.
then it's just like a little love triangle going on here.
It's a whole thing.
And then lo and behold, that girl is the daughter of the supervillain.
Oh yeah. So
There's just a lot of like, woo.
That was probably the best moment of my first time
when he
watching
opened
Yes.
the door and saw that, I was shocked.
It's just
And I
pure
will
dread.
another thing, Tom Holland's acting in that moment was so good.
yeah, throughout those whole two next
Terrified and
next
could
two
not
scenes.
hide his fear.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So by this point, they had the altercation on the boat. You want to explain what happened on the boat?
Oh yeah, well okay, so they had the altercation where he got trapped in the truck before that, right? And then the boat happens. We
Oh
went
yeah,
out of order.
it's okay.
But by
It's
this
funny
point,
when he
knows
gets
who
trapped
is.
in the truck though, because that's when they hack and. Well, gosh, a lot of things happen. He also saved his friends in Washington D.C.
Yeah, right.
There's
We
a lot of
skipped-
action
we
going
skipped a
on in this
bunch of
movie.
But yeah, so there's the DC trip where they've taken and we missed the the neighborhood chase.
All right, we don't got to go through all.
You
the battles.
missed Karen.
Oh yeah, Karen,
So
dude.
funny.
Karen happens in D.C. So they go to what, like an academic decathlon championship,
an
basically
academic
in
decathlon.
Washington D.C. And Ned, the guy in the chair, hacks Spider-Man's suit and finds out that there's a training protocol on it.
Turns it off.
He turns it off, and basically it reminds me a lot of Iron Man's tech.
Yes,
You know,
that opens up a whole new world of capabilities that Spider-Man's suit has.
what is it? 150 different web shooter.
Yeah, I
thingies?
think 157
Gosh.
web combinations.
Well, and we already thought his suit was cool because it was
Right.
like this major
Yeah.
step up from what he was using, even though that was, I mean,
His
not the
suit
way it
was-
looked,
No,
but
it
the
was
fact
rudimentary,
that
but it
he-
was cool.
But the fact that he like made his own webs
Yeah,
and
he
had
put
a
it
web
together.
shooter and all this stuff was really cool. And then Tony gives him this super cool suit. And then you find all these other
Super
things
cool
that
suit
he-
is even super cooler.
He has different modes and just craziness.
Yeah, so that's a lot of stuff that was invented for this movie. I mean, Spider-Man has had gadgets
And then
in the past, but this is taking it to a whole
But
new
of course,
level.
Spider-Man makes friends with the AI and his tech, and names her Karen. So you know, it's fine.
Yes,
I love it.
There's insta kill
He's like,
mode.
I
there's
don't like this
taser
girl,
webs.
and what should I do?
I have a question. Is Karen the same voice as Friday?
No, I think it's a different voice. I believe it's Jennifer Connelly, if I'm not mistaken.
Because in the Iron Man movies, he has like different
Yeah.
AIs. He has like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in his suits, but Friday's usually his main suit.
Yeah, let's see.
I don't know. I guess all the stuff goes down on Fridays.
I guess.
I think Friday was the girl from, like, she's like Scottish or something like that. The girl from Harry Potter who played the ghost of Ravenclaw. I don't remember her name. I don't remember the actress' name or the character's name. But
Helena?
yes, Helena Ravenclaw.
Yes.
But yeah, Karen is played by Jennifer Connelly.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like Karen.
Who
She's-
was in The Incredible Hulk.
Well,
Yeah, different Marvel
about
movie,
that.
technically. Yeah, she was Betty. No, wait, no. No, you're right. You're right. She was in Hulk, not the Incredible Hulk. My bad. Guys, I'm getting mixed up here.
Lots of movies.
Lots
Lots
of
of
movies.
superhero movies.
Lots of adjectives. Incredible, amazing.
Because he got
Fantastic,
stuck in
sensational.
this warehouse with Karen, he missed his academic decathlon, which is really sad.
But he
And it
learns
was
a lot of
also
spider suit
even more
skills.
sad because Ned is holding the little tech thingy they stole. Which what does he say?
It's a power source
It's a power source,
that
and it
is
was
also
going
an
to
explosive
explode.
device.
So their freaking elevator explodes, and Spider-Man has to go on a
So-
chase to save them.
Well, because they go up inside the Washington Monument. Because
Yeah, that's
after
what that
they
is.
win, they go in and they want to go and see like all the sites in Washington. And so the worst part is that the monuments are so heavily guarded and it's, they're always going to be on the lookout for like
Suspicious
suspicious
objects
stuff.
and
So
activity.
when Spider-Man tries to go and save them from this whole
they're
sitch,
trying to shoot him down.
they're literally in helicopters like
There's a
gonna open fire on
yeah.
poor little Spidey in his suit.
There's some kind of monster climbing on the outside of a
So-
Which actually,
historical
can you imagine
monument.
what that would look like?
Right,
Can you
yeah.
imagine like
Yeah.
being a
Somebody's
normal
climbing
person?
up the Washington
he
Monument.
ends up
Oh my
saving them,
God.
but at this point, Tony Stark is mad. Doesn't he take the suit after this?
No, that's after
he
the
takes
boat.
it after the boat.
But
yes.
but he does come and talk to him and is like,
No, he comes and talks to him after he goes and gets the Falcon the first time.
Yes, so it's
He's mad all the time though. He wants him to like stay
Stay
close to the
street
ground,
level,
literally.
chill out, don't handle nothing that's
so
too big
that
for your
happened.
britches.
But then you think he kind of would have started backing down after that, but no. So he's learning more about this tech and what's happening, and he knows that they're gonna meet on this boat because they're gonna like sell something.
Yeah, there's a
so
deal
he
going
goes
down.
to this boat, which is just like the trolley boats from like in the
Ferry.
Yeah, it's a
ferry
ferry.
boats in Manhattan. You know,
trolley boat.
trolley boat, ferry boat, same thing.
going
that
from Staten
that
Island.
backfires
Rails to water.
completely. So he finds the people. He thinks he's got them, but he don't got them. Like he's messing with tech that he doesn't completely have knowledge over.
Yeah, this
so he's
this
like
is one of my
trying
favorite.
to subdue things with webs, but it can shoot through the webs. You know, like he's
Yeah.
just not fully knowledgeable about the situation.
This is one of my favorite Spider-Man action scenes.
It was very
in,
good.
in the movie because he has just learned about all the tech in his suit, so he's utilizing a lot of the cool new
And
gadgets.
he's saying it too. I love when he's like shooting and
Yeah,
when
he's
the
using,
boat
like, voice
splits,
commands.
and he's like this one, you know, and he's great, but you know he was only 98% successful.
Yeah, so he does really well at first until the FBI show up and they realize that it was like an undercover raid that was happening that Spider-Man just completely interfered with. And then after that,
Tony
stuff
Stark
starts
is
popping
pissed.
up because the Vulture comes out and all of his guys are shooting
His wings
everywhere.
freak me out. I'm gonna say it.
He-
Like,
he-
they're scary.
He has a very scary design, which
It
Yeah.
reminds me of
It's really
Edward
cool.
Scissorhands as
Yeah.
they
wings.
do
It
though.
does-
They
it does, like,
slice.
slice
He was
the webs.
slicing his webs
Mhm.
with like the wings, and I was like, ugh.
but it's a
Yeah.
cool design. It's like a fighter pilot, but just a man body.
If you put who did you say earlier?
Falcon.
Falcon.
If you put Falcon and Edward Scissorhands together, you got the Vulture.
Yeah, but Falcon's wings don't freak me out, and these ones were like, ugh.
Yeah, they're
you know how
obviously
you
made
feel
of-
about rats? It was making me shiver.
Shiver.
Rats.
Yeah. So the one of the new weapons explodes, splits the boat in half.
Oh, yep.
Spider-Man uses as many webs as he possibly can to keep the thing together.
And when he's like holding it,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably one of the coolest like visual scenes.
Yeah.
of
And
this
so,
whole
Andre,
movie.
will you remind me? Because at this point, I was like, wow, Spider-Man's pretty strong.
Ah, yes.
But you were saying that he's stronger than Captain America,
Oh,
technically?
absolutely. Captain America's super soldier serum gave him peak human performance. So he runs really fast and he's really strong. He can probably lift like 1,000 pounds or something like that. Spider-Man has the proportional strength of a spider and can therefore lift like 10 tons or something like that. And
Well, think about the end.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Spider-Man
he's-
can jump 30 feet
oh,
straight
yeah,
up
when he
into
lifts
the
like a
air.
bus off of himself. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, he can jump high, too.
Yeah, so
So
Spider-Man
I think
is,
I just
is
had
a
it in
strong
my
character.
mind that like Captain America was stronger than Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's crazy strong.
No, but yeah, but
So he's supposed to have like, yeah, I guess spiders are pretty.
Think about how strong an ant is.
Mm-hmm. right. It's,
Proportional.
it's like that.
So like a spider, and now he's huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
Could pick stuff up, fight,
Pretty
fight
gross,
off
but
stuff.
yes.
Yeah, it's a little gross. But you know, it's not as gross as it could be. His webs could be coming out of his butt.
That's true. You know what?
Why
I was
would you
gonna
say
say
that?
that is one thing I really like about this movie. Is I actually don't remember in the other Spider-Man movies, where did the webs come out of?
So in the Tobey Maguire ones, they change it and they make him have organic webbing. So it still comes out of his wrist, which is a weird place for it to come out of, I guess. But whatever, movie magic. So yeah, it just comes out of his wrist, and I guess he just replenishes it by eating and drinking. I guess.
I freaking love that it does
It's
not come
tech.
out of his bottom or
Out of
his
his
body.
body.
It's
Yeah.
tech. He
His
made
bottom.
it
It's tech.
himself.
And that is something
makes
he
the
developed
fluid for his webs.
completely on his own.
Thank the good Lord.
How is it in the comics?
Okay.
In the comics, he develops it himself as well.
Okay.
Because it's
a compound that he
disgusting.
makes. Yes.
And it
with
also
the idea
doesn't
that it comes
make
out of his
any
body.
sense, really.
No.
I mean, if you were given spider powers,
if he was a real spider, it would make sense.
yeah,
But he's not a spider.
because spiders do create silk that they can release out and
Of their butt.
kind of retract and
Out of
stuff
a hole.
but
There's
yeah,
no hole in your wrist.
No, there's no hole in it.
Exactly.
No, but they do this, so I mean.
Yeah, So flip,
Like this. You gotta do the
flip, flip,
fingers
flip,
right.
flip. Webby, webby, wibbity web.
Wibbity wibbity web.
Wibbity woody web. So yes, he's webbing up the boat and he's failing. The webs are falling apart, and then who shows up but the one and only Iron Man?
Daddy Papa Iron Man.
The guy, I love the guy on the boat who, when Spider-Man first has the boat stabilized, he's like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, Spider-Man!" And then it starts to fall
That
apart.
dude.
And Iron Man shows up. He's like, "Yeah, Iron Man!"
He's just like, I thought I was going to die today, but this is actually a really good day.
Oh, what a good, funny scene. So
Iron Man's pissed. He takes his suit.
He's upset.
And he is like, "You're done," right?
Yeah.
And what does he say? He's like, I love when Iron Man talks to him. He's like, "I'm trying to be encouraging, like how my father wasn't, and support you."
God, I sound like my dad.
And then this time he was just like, "Sorry, dude, no." He takes it away, and what does he say? He says, "If you're nothing
without this suit, then you don't deserve to
then
have
you
it."
don't deserve to have it," which kind of stuck with Peter.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely.
Gosh, when he goes back to his janky spider suit, the eyes freak me out. They're like goggles.
Okay, so
I'm like, ugh.
I personally love the janky spider suit.
No, I hate it.
As a person who's seen multiple pre-actual Spider-Man suits, this one is a really choice one. Like in the Tobey Maguire one, he's like going to be a wrestler, so he paints a shirt and he has on like a ski mask that he paints as well, and it's like whatever. And then in the Amazing Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield, he's just wearing like sunglasses and a beanie and running around in like a regular jacket, looking weird, looking dumb. This one is really cool. It's a full-on superhero suit that he made out of pajamas or whatever, and he developed his web shooters and he developed his eye goggles, and it's a cool put together, and it has the red and blues. It's great. Me likey.
To each their own.
Choice.
All right. Well,
Nice.
It's all right. So,
And I love that he keeps it under his locker.
All of this
under
happens,
all the lockers.
and he kind of gets in trouble and stuff like that.
I want to know about those wall of lockers. Like, what in the world did you do to get a wall of lockers, bro?
Sliding it
dude,
up.
I don't know. He was crazy. So he kind of just decides at this point he's a little bit defeated, and he's like, "Let's just be a kid. The homecoming dance is coming up," and he asks
He's
his
got
crush
detention.
out to the homecoming dance, and she says yes. So that's cool. So he's like excited, and I like the scene where he's like, "Aunt May, I need help."
Yeah.
And she's like teaching him how to
That
tie a
little
tie and
montage.
dance, and he's like all awkward and nerdy.
Yeah.
And he gets a corsage and he
Young
goes to
hot
pick
on
her
May.
up, and lo and behold, who answers the door?
Michael Keaton, Batman.
Batman.
Batman. And it's terrifying.
And the tone of the movie like shifts like immediately. Like the music changes, everything. I think it's so cool. And Tom Holland did some amazing acting because he couldn't hide anything.
Right. Let's take
And
some
that's
pictures.
really where he's
Smile,
like a
Peter.
kid, like kids can't hide their emotions, and he's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
So here's my question then.
Mhm.
At what very moment, and I want you to think about it before you answer, do you think that Vulture Man figured out that Peter was
When his freaking
Spider-Man?
daughter was like,
There was no thinking on your mind. You knew exactly who it was.
"It's the freaking daughter, dude." She gave all of his stuff away. She was like, "Oh yeah, he's really cool. He has an internship with Tony Stark." And the other dude's like,
Oh,
"Tony
Tony
Stark,
Stark,
you're a
interesting.
kid." And then she was like, "He wasn't at the thing at the Washington Monument." It was that moment, I think, when he was like the Washington
right.
Monument, and he was like, "Oh, this Spider-Man." And then she just
Uh-huh.
kept giving away like,
She's like, "Yeah, you always
everything.
keep disappearing."
Yeah,
like
you
that.
always keep disappearing, like you always do.
You're like never
and
around.
he's like, "No, I don't."
No, I don't. He's like, I even kind of recognize your voice. Sure, we haven't met somewhere or something like that. That scene is full of tension.
And it's terrifying. God,
Yes.
if I was him, I'd be like, I'm so
And
dead.
it's fantastic. That's Michael
I'm
Keaton's
dead.
best acting in the movie, and it might be Tom Holland's best acting as well. Just
Ooh,
them
even
two
when he's
in
like,
that
I
car.
need to have a go on into the dance gumdrop.
I gotta have a dad talk with old Pete
Ooh,
here, Pedro.
It was terrifying. And Peter still tries to play dumb. He's like, I don't know what. But he like is, and I told Andre, I was like, dude, he's gonna have to work on his like criminal skills. Like he can't just keep giving away his identity like that.
Yeah.
Like you got to meet a criminal and you're undercover. You can't act like that. Jeez.
Right, that's a real issue
Yeah.
for old Spidey pants.
Childish Gambino told him what he needed to do.
You need to
He
get better
told
at
him
this part of the
this
job.
part of the job.
And he
Right.
didn't listen.
In mask
he didn't listen. Just
and
got some
out.
melted ice cream.
Yeah. So as soon as Liz gets out the car, Michael Keaton pulls out a gun, just really showing
Out of
him
nowhere.
up. He's like, "Hey, listen, buddy. If you ever interfere with my business ever again, I'll kill everybody you care about, everybody you love."
I thought he was gonna be like, I'll kill you, but nah, he was like everybody.
Nah, that's not even that good of a threat. Because number one, it's kind of hard to kill Spider-Man. He's very unkillable, as he learns a little bit later.
Yeah, he does learn that the hard way.
But threatening everybody he loves is that was a power move, and it worked. Peter
God,
went in
and
there,
you
he was
know,
like,
and
"Oh,
I
boy."
really feel for the Vulture after this point because I think he probably thinks he's killed Spider-Man eventually in this movie like 3 times, and the dude just keeps coming back, and
Right.
he's like pissed.
Yeah.
You know, like so that happens, and then he's like, you go in the dance and you never walk out. Well, Spider-Man leaves, of course,
Immediately.
and then so Michael Keaton's like he's dead, right?
So is he
You
supposed
know?
to stay at the gym for his entire life?
No, he was just supposed to go.
He
He was
never
just
You
supposed
said
to.
you go in the gym, you never walk out.
He says like, yeah, that's what he says.
Says, "Go show my daughter a good time and stay in there and don't come bother me."
Don't come out.
Not too good of a time. I
Yeah.
thought that was
Right,
such an
yeah, he still
awkward.
ended
like-
with dad stuff.
Wow, this conversation got extra awkward. Thank you for that, Batman.
That's probably like
Too
the
good of a
last
time.
thing that freaking Spider-Man's thinking of in this moment.
Right.
But you know,
Exactly, he rushes.
Rust, I am not even thinking about your daughter right now, sir.
and he's
She's
not
cute and all, but like not at all.
No, absolutely not. And so he ends up fighting. What's the guy's name with the tech?
Shocker.
The Shocker.
So that was a cool moment in this movie
Dude, that
too.
guy looks like the rap artist. What's his name? Something the Creator. Tyler the Creator.
Tyler the Creator. He does kind of look like Tyler the Creator. That's funny. Not him though.
He's creepy. The guy who played the Shocker was creepy. He's just seemed like a sociopath.
The
like,
first guy
on
or the second guy?
first guy.
The first guy who was like
No. Excuse me. The first guy was just nuts.
right.
crazy.
Yeah, he was
But
wild.
the
The
second
one that he
guy,
accidentally
he was
blasted.
Yeah.
more of a sociopath. Like,
yeah,
you got to
he was
worry
like,
about
"Hey,
that guy.
Go take care of him." He's like, It's like, oh man, okay, he's intimidating for sure.
Yeah.
And
But it's
didn't-
okay. He gets past that
Yes.
from Ned.
the Shocker has always been a
'Cause
very
Ned-
low level villain that
Ned
Spider-Man.
shoots the webs at him.
Yes, Ned helps out, and then he gets to really be the man in the chair.
Yeah, he goes to the computer and it cracks me up because he freaking takes the Audi from Flash, right? He's like, I need this car. And he's like, it's my dad's car. And then like he drives off and
Immediately
crashes
starts
it.
crashing.
And I'm really reminded their kids now because he's like, how do you turn the lights on in this thing? And Ned's like, I'll pull up the specs.
He's 15 and lives in New York. He's probably never been behind the wheel ever.
That's what. So we rewatched this movie and we watched it with my mom, and she was like, "Oh yeah, he just," and because my first thing was, he lives in New York. He was not in the parking lot with Aunt May. You know, he has never been
Right.
behind a car.
No.
like he's never. No.
Never,
He's in
ever.
a taxi or walking.
Yes, or swinging.
Or
How
swinging.
do you turn the lights on? That was just cracking me up.
Yeah, so Ned is directing him in the chair, trying to get him to careful legs. Trying to get him to his destination of his phone, which he cleverly left in the Vulture's car.
Smart
to
Spidey.
track him down and to find him.
He finds him.
Yes, he does find him after just trashing Flash's dad's car, just totally destroying it. Doesn't he flip it on its side?
Yeah, I think so. Poor Audie.
Spider-Man. Goodness gracious.
Why? I forget. Why does he?
He
flip
was
it?
he was
Just
like going too
terrible driving?
fast, and then he like webbed something to like turn the car, and then it flipped over, which is wild. He gets to the warehouse that the Vulture is in. The Vulture is there waiting for him, and
Not really waiting for him per se.
he's sitting there drinking a beer
Nice.
with one lamp on, and staring at the entrance as Spider-Man walks in.
Okay.
He's waiting for him, and so he walks in. Because also Vulture at this point is just waiting for the plane to take off so that he can go and start hijacking all of the tech that's
He's like, I guess
inside
I'll
of it.
drink some beer before I fly this thing.
Yeah, tipsy driving, just like all airline pilots. He's waiting there. They have like a standoffish kind of speech where Vulture is telling Spider-Man about how similar that they are, and then he realizes, or Spider-Man realizes that, like, hey, you know what, you're going down, but he starts webbing him up, and then Vulture activates his master plan of
He was just distracting him.
having the wings come in and
so
rip the place apart.
So Spider-Man's just avoiding the wings, and he's like, you can't kill me, you haven't hit me yet. But I realized it immediately when the wings started slicing the poles. I was like, he's going to knock down the ceiling. But he's just not in that superhero mindset yet. Like, he's not thinking steps ahead.
Yeah.
He's just, like, very in the moment. He didn't realize the Vulture was trying to distract him. He didn't realize the Vulture was trying to knock the ceiling down on top of him.
Yeah,
and it's actually, like, really sad. So Tom Holland's acting when he's in times of crisis is also really good, too. Because I, like, wanted to cry when he's stuck under that thing. And he's
trapped
like,
under
anybody
it.
help?
Somebody help me. I'm trapped in this thing. I can't do it.
And he's, like, crying and stuff. And it's, like, really, really sad. I did not like that.
And then it leads into a hardcore Spider-Man moment where he has to realize the strength that's within himself. Yes, he has to reach his fullest potential. He says, come on, Spider-Man, come on, Spider-Man. And he lifts up what I assume is just hundreds of thousands of pounds of concrete.
Something like
off
that.
Of his head.
Which is insane.
Yeah. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Oh, man. This movie
and he's like, guess I'll fight again. And somehow goes to the Vulture and webs himself up there.
Yeah, he hitches a ride on Vulture. I don't remember how
he webs himself. He's like,
he
goes up.
Yeah, he just gets out of there, I guess, before Vulture gets all the way up into into a high altitude or whatever. He gets up there, and then they have a plane fight where Vulture gets into the plane that's taking all of Tony Stark's tech from the Avengers Tower, which has now been sold.
Which is pretty cool because you get to like see some of the stuff, you know, in there.
Yeah, he's walking through. He's finding Iron Man helmets and Chitauri guns, and was there anything else in there? There was a full Iron Man suit in there, I think.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of like bombs and stuff like that. He's having a grand old time. Spider-Man gets in. He's crawling on the plane, which is camouflaged and is getting on all the cameras, which is funny. And then he knocks off his vacuum seal suit off the bottom of the plane, and then a fight ensues in which a whole plane engine gets sucked out of out of the plane.
Basically, what happens is Spider-Man's gonna fall into that plane engine.
Yeah.
Propeller, right? He webs it all, and that actually works. But in my head, I'm like, nah. So are his webs that strong?
The webs are extremely strong. They're very
because I'm like, wow, the web would just get shredded by the pilot thing.
They have like the tensile strength of like steel girders or whatever, but they're very flexible and elastic.
Okay, so that makes a little more sense because I was like, there's no way that would have worked.
Yeah.
But just them fighting on the plane the whole time gives me so much anxiety. I can't even talk about it.
I agree. It was very nerve-wracking. Just because like one little slip up and dang,
Spider-Man was
falling and dying.
I have two different things to say about this particular point. Mm-hmm. Number one, Luis cannot watch like Cirque du Soleil type of things because it literally Cirque du Soleil, you know, like when they do like the ribbons and stuff.
Circus guys.
Because he gets so much anxiety. Like we watch the ones that do the ribbons where they like wrap them with their arms, they go to the top of the stage and then like unravel and then they like almost hit the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm over here just like, ooh. Luis is legitimately like, like, you know.
Your daughter could never be a gymnast, dude.
No, like he feels it. So when we're watching this movie, I could see it on his face like,
right? Fall on that plane.
Yeah.
I felt like that when he was on the tower in DC. I was like, no.
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
not.
Right,
for sure.
And that's
that was my second point was that he just I don't know if it's because he's like you were saying how he's like still not like a superhero yet or he's still a kid
he's junior.
He's just impulsive, but like in every epic moment for Spider-Man and in this movie and in Infinity War and just all over the place. he just like does these things where it's like, if you had thought about it, like you just jumped into a spaceship,
Right,
like, or you
yeah.
just
He
jumped
doesn't think
on
about
an
it. He just
airplane.
does it.
Which I mean is good. It shows that he wants to do what's right, but then it's also like his risk his risk management
Right.
is like
It's off the charts.
Like
Ooh.
if I was Spider-Man, okay, we went on the cruise boat and I couldn't even climb the rock wall because it was so high up. And I was looking at the bottom of the ocean like terrified. I couldn't even climb the wall. Like if I got bit by a radioactive spider, I would be a terrible Spider Woman because I'm just afraid of heights.
Oh,
in
you know what?
general.
You know what? I'm really glad that you're not Spider Woman.
That's actually a thing that.
Hey, Adeline ate a spider, so she might.
Yeah, that's true. Eddie did just eat up a spider.
Spider Girl. That's actually a thing that's not really addressed in this movie at all. Is one of Spider-Man's main powers is his spider sense, which
Yeah.
is something that alerts him to danger. So I think that like coming up as like a young Spider-Man, that's why he's so adventurous and stuff like that. Is because
You're right.
if the spider sense isn't going off, he's good to go.
I think that was one of
That's
the gripes
true.
and the
people
spider sense
had.
can like guide him through a lot of different kinds of
I
situations.
think that was one of the gripes people had with this movie is that they didn't see any of the spider sense.
Yeah, they
right?
didn't show it.
Wait, didn't they kind of briefly
in Infinity
talk
War.
In-
about it? Because remember how his old suit had those nasty goggles?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you mention something about it helps keeps things into focus?
Yeah, in-
because my
in Civil
senses
War-
are so.
In Civil War, he says that his senses are very heightened, so he creates the goggles to like help him focus while he's Spider-Maning around. And I guess that's part of his like spider sense.
They
and
show
then
it more in Infinity War when like he senses the aliens come down and like
Yes,
the hair
the
stand
hairs
up on
on
his
his
arms and he
arms stand
looks
up.
up and like sees it. You
That's
know?
the only legitimate
In-
time to where they
in
mention
Civil
it, though.
War, he's fighting Bucky and Falcon, and one of them throws something at him from behind. And you see it coming. You see Spider-Man's eyes get big and his head turn up, and then he turns around and grabs it with a web. So that was like an instance of spider sense that they showed
subtle.
without super showing you,
without him saying like
without
this
him
is
saying,
my
"My spider sense is tingling."
And you know what? It's so interesting
Thank
because
God. Again, don't
I
say
swear
it.
to you,
I don't need him to say it. Oh, it was my
I
spider
literally
senses.
swear to you.
Jeepers.
Think about times you're laying on your bed and you see a spider on the ceiling moving. And I feel like whenever I finally notice the spider is there, the spider stops. And I swear like the spider is just like it
Yeah.
knows that I sensed them. You know what I mean? So I highly believe in spider sense. And then as soon as I go and get the fly swatter, it starts booking it out of there. I'm like, get out of here, spider.
Michelle's just telegraphing all her moves.
Ridiculous.
I'm
But
getting
that's why I'm so
Bugs
terrified
up.
of spiders in real life is because I feel like they get, oh God, they like know what I'm doing.
Yeah, they're creepy and they're sneaky.
Oh, it's so scary.
hmm
So what happens? The plane eventually crashes.
So yeah,
Spider-Man keeps it from crashing
the engine
into
the engine falls
Manhattan.
out, and Spider-Man uses a web to guide the wing to turn it away from like
Crazy.
Coney Island or wherever they
And
are.
then it gets really cool. Like
They
once
crash
they
on the beach.
crash and there's like fire
Yeah.
and like everything, and they're still fighting. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh jeez, like
Yeah,
we need
Vulture's
to, we
beating
need
the
to
crap
stop
out of
this.
him.
Yeah,
he is.
I know, and that's why I was like, he has to be strong because he's getting punched and punched
Yes.
and punched with metal.
He
you
also-
know, and
he also
he's,
has, like,
fine.
A somewhat enhanced healing
Okay,
factor.
but I will say this right now because I think it's hilarious that he's getting punched and punched over in the face, right? And he keeps getting up and fighting. But when he's in that darn truck, he jumps up and hits his head on the thing and knocks himself out because he barely got a concussion.
That's true.
A minor concussion. And I'm like,
Oh,
dude, you're
dude.
just getting punched.
Michelle,
Don't
that
get
was
Louise.
not a damn minor concussion. Dude, he should be dead.
What do you mean?
Clanged
Okay,
his head real
Don't
first
get
hard.
Louise
He
started
Oh,
on
no.
concussion.
First
Because I'm
off-
like, how did that knock him out but not getting punched over and
First
over?
off, he can jump 30 feet in the air.
Correct.
You know how
Okay.
much power goes into that
That
Into a
jump.
thrust
jump
off the ground?
That goes
and
this
then
high.
he ends up hitting that like 5 feet later.
Right.
Nah,
Ooh.
girl, that's no minor concussion. He's dead.
Garen said it was a minor concussion.
So
You
wanna
said
know-
it was a minor
Well,
concussion.
for a minor concussion for Spider-Man that would have killed the rest
Right.
of us.
Yeah.
You know
He's
what's
got a
really
hard
funny
head.
though is that this year in Luis's soccer program, they well, I mean, I guess the state has like this thing now with student athletes with it's called concussion protocol.
Okay.
And so like if the kids are getting concussions or if there's an idea, the thought that the kid might have a concussion, they have to go through this whole protocol process, which is
Wow.
actually really good.
Well, yeah,
But-
because that's terrifying. I mean, I've never gotten a concussion, and I'm lucky because I was a gymnast. I could have easily gotten concussions, but like those are a huge deal.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
But it's really funny because the protocol has become like so like tedious that all the coaches are like concussion protocol, right? So freaking Spider-Man hits his head on the roof, and Luis goes, concussion protocol.
Oh my gosh. Luis is like,
Any kid that
concussion.
hits their head.
And then
Because
Karen's
I
like,
Luis just show him that video, be like, you have a
Like
concussion.
Peter, you cannot return back, and you cannot return to play until 2 weeks have passed.
that's what he said. He's like, you need a doctor's note, and they need to make sure that you're ready to go, and you're not ready.
You have to be released. That's hilarious.
intense.
You cannot save your friend.
Karen was
Okay.
like, you got a minor concussion. It's fine.
I guess for his Spider-Man, it would be a minor one, but like, nah, we'd be dead if that happened to us.
Yeah.
For sure.
He clocked
Brain
himself real
aneurysm.
hard. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Spider-Man does have like a slightly enhanced healing factor, so he
All
heals,
right.
heals a little bit faster than
I don't
than
know,
normal
slightly
humans.
enhanced. He was sitting up at the top of that roller coaster after getting stepped on 7 times by the damn
Giant
metal
man.
vulture.
So
Oh.
here's my question.
Yeah,
Does
he
the
had-
suit...
Okay, I have a gripe with the vulture thing.
Hold on. Before, I have a question, and I don't know if it'll make a
Okay.
difference. What does the suit have any, like...
Like
No,
protective
this is
capabilities.
Does it
this
protect
is his
him?
little suit.
No. Yeah, especially
Oh,
he's
you're
in
right.
he's
That's
in his regular
that's his
suit,
funky suit
which
anyways.
is just
A sweatshirt.
sweatpants or whatever, and then his Stark suit. I don't think that's protective at all. 'Cause it's really thin,
yeah.
and it just has all the
Meshy.
I'm
all-
sure it has
all the
something
technology
in it.
interweaved in it. I think the only suit that has protective qualities is the Iron Spider suit that he gets
Right.
in Infinity War,
Right.
which is
which
freaking
is
legit.
which is
We'll
armored,
talk about that soon.
You know,
Okay, so here's my gripe.
You're
The
right, he was
reason
in
the
the
vulture
pajamas.
starts punching him out is because he runs out of webs, right? So he's like, floom, floom.
Yeah.
He's like trying to shoot and he has no webs. So once the vulture basically gets destroyed, his wing falls apart, he falls to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man saves him from the fire. He ties him up with freaking webs and all of the boxes with webs, but he just ran out of webs.
he ran out of webs. You
What,
saw
did he
him
run home and get some
No,
more?
you saw him earlier in the movie. He reloads his web shooters all the time. So in that moment
Where
when
is he keeping them?
on his wrist, on his web shooter, he has extras that he just has to take off and put
All
into the
right.
right to
All
the
right.
right.
So what?
slot.
He just like ran out and then wasn't
he
able
he
to
ran out
reload?
in that moment, didn't have any webs, and didn't have time to reload before he.
Okay, but for me, I was like, how come we got these webs all of a sudden?
He used a lot of webs.
Well,
to
let's
whale
just
out
talk
that
about
engine.
every movie where nobody reloads their
Yeah.
automatic weapons or their other weapons ever.
That thing is a
That's
6-shooter. You've
true.
definitely shot 18
But if they're
times.
showing him running out, then
That's
I was
true.
like, okay, he doesn't
That's
have
true.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, so I guess it's fine. But I love that he writes
But only
the
only Andre would know that. Okay, the
Yeah,
rest
yeah,
of us.
like
he
I would have
reloaded
known
at
that.
least 2 times before in the movie, but it was with like
I
the
wasn't
Stark suit.
looking for that. You know what I mean?
No.
But I do think it was funny that he left another note saying like, found this vulture guy, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't make
From the
that
neighborhood
connection that
Spider-Man.
that was another one of his
Yeah,
notes.
well,
I mean,
another one
I
of his little
obviously
notes.
saw the note, but I
From your
didn't
friendly
think about
neighborhood
it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, dude.
And so
like the
Tony,
bike. I found the
Yeah.
I love that
Don't
after
steal
this,
it.
Tony is like, he goes, Happy's like, we're going, to go meet Tony. And he's like, okay, all right.
This is
And they
it.
get there, and Tony's like, I was just giving you like a hard push. It's all good. He's so full of himself, Mr. Tony Stark, who I can't stand, but like now, so it's fine. But I was just like, dude, you're ridiculous. You know
I
what
like
I mean?
how he was like, yeah, you just this all ended up working out really just quite
Yeah.
quite
And
nicely.
Perfectly.
there's like 30 people in there for a press conference. Here's your new suit, Iron Spider, and let's go. And he turns him down, and at the end of turning him down, he's like, that was a test, right, Mrs. Stark, right? And he's like, yeah, you passed. Like, get out of here, like, ruined everything, you know what I mean?
Opens the door. There's
God.
actual reporters out there, like a lot of them.
A lot of them. And
We got to
so
do something. We called all these reporters.
It's fine because Happy had that ring in his pocket since 2007. So, I literally think that's so hilarious. This thing, and I told Andre, I was like, that means Happy has more of a connection with this ring than freaking, whatever her face will. I don't even know her name because she's irrelevant.
Pepper.
Pepper Potts.
Pepper.
I'm like, that's
Pepper.
really Happy's ring at this point. He's had it since 2000.
Oh yeah, he's worn it much longer than she has.
It's been in
He's
his
trying it
pocket
on.
forever. It takes effort to make sure that thing's still in your
Puts
pocket
it on
for
his
that many
pinky
years.
and lets it glint in the sun every
Can
once
you
in a while.
imagine like holding onto an engagement ring that long?
He probably like
So-
regularly goes to get some polished and stuff like that.
So freaking
So
funny. Hilarious. Which is nice because, and then I told Andre, he was like, yeah, and then he's just like never an Avenger, and that's kind of sad, but I guess he becomes an Avenger in Infinity War.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and he does get the Stark suit back at the end of.
Yeah, but not the
end of
Iron
this movie.
Spider suit.
No, he
So not
turned,
that
he turned
upgraded one,
he turned the
just the
upgraded
Stark
suit
one.
down. Yeah, it's just the standard Tony Stark suit.
Which is still amazing.
Yes.
And I told Andre,
Is that a Spider-Man shirt you're wearing right now?
Mhm.
Oh, I
The
didn't
only
even
reason
notice
I was
it
a
right
little
now.
bit confused about this movie is because based on the other
And your Marvel hat.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you had to touch it.
based on the other movies I've seen, right? I was like, MJ was kind of barely in this. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
I'm
Like
okay
she's-
with it.
She's
I
there,
am as
but I'm
well.
assuming in this next movie there's going to be a lot of MJ.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're gonna ramp up the MJ. Yeah,
And
so
all his friends.
that was also a very different direction they took this movie. Is Zendaya?
And she's not a redhead.
No, she's not a redhead. She's not a white person. She's Zendaya.
not a white
She's
person.
playing Michelle, who then at the end of the movie decides to go by MJ. So it's definitely a different character than Mary Jane Watson
Right.
from the comics and from the old
Yeah,
movies.
it's different.
I dig it, though.
I love her a lot.
Oh, I love
she's
her. She's
hilarious.
really funny when she's freaking in detention and she's like, I just come here to draw pictures of people in distress.
In crisis.
Crisis.
Crisis, thank you.
This is you.
Hilarious. What are you doing, Peter? No, I don't care.
Can we get going? I want to do some light protesting before we get started.
She's just like that weirdo loner from high school. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
And then she's like, it's what my friends call me MJ. And he's like, I thought you didn't have any friends. And she's like,
I do now.
I do now. It's just
Yeah.
I just like her because she's like a cool loner.
she's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, now
She's
she's
like,
the
you
captain.
losers. I can't believe you're at this party. They're like, you're here. She's like, am I?
She's just like a weirdo. So I'm kind of excited to see a little bit more of her. And I think really this next movie is going to be like him telling his friends he's Spider-Man, right? Like they're got to find out he's
Maybe.
Spider-Man.
Did you see the commercial?
What?
We'll talk about the
MJ,
Did you
we
see
think-
the
we'll
commercial?
talk about the next movie in the crack because it's spoiler heavy.
Whatever.
No, but I mean just that commercial though, like just
Yes,
that piece,
the
not the
trailer.
other
Doesn't
spoiler
MJ
part.
say like you're Spider-Man?
Yeah, he's like, I just want to tell you something, and she's like, he obviously is gonna tell her he likes her,
Yeah.
and she's
Yeah.
like, what,
Is it
that
that
you're
you're
Spider-Man?
Spider-Man?
It's pretty obvious, and you're like, oh.
But I wonder if she's just joking again, like how she does.
Maybe, but I think she definitely has a suspicion. In this movie, I noticed her
Every time he
noticing
leaves,
him
she's
a
like,
lot
huh.
more. Like she
yeah.
she
She's
keeps
like
saying,
a detective.
I'm not obsessed with him, but she definitely is.
Oh, she's totally obsessed. She's like, you quit band and blah blah blah.
Right,
a couple
yeah.
weeks ago, like, oh, like,
Where are you going, Peter? What are you hiding?
Not that I care.
I don't care. Goodbye. Yeah, she's great. She's
Yeah,
fantastic.
so that'll be interesting to see. Okay,
Yes.
fine. We'll talk about the
Is
next
that
movie.
that got updated, and then also Aunt May, who at the
Is
end of the
very
movie,
young.
at the end of the movie, finds out that Peter is.
And she's
Spider-Man.
like, what did she say?
she
what
says,
the?
"What the?" And then
And then it
cuts.
goes to the credits. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, Blitzkrieg Bop.
But that's like classic. And I like that Aunt May is younger in this too.
Yeah, it's an interesting turn on Aunt May,
And
because
it-
classically she's an old woman.
Mhm.
Like Spider-Man is in his teens and 20s, and she is like in her 60s and 70s. She's much older,
Yeah.
and she's a loving and doting. But he can't reveal to her that he's Spider-Man because she would have a heart attack and die. Like that's how old she is. That's how it's like always portrayed. But
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Aunt May says about it. Because even in Infinity War and stuff, we don't get that because he's just at school and then he's in space.
yes, exactly.
So we don't.
he's at school,
And he's in space.
and then he's.
I was telling Andre, I was like, I don't even remember how he got the Iron Spider, but I guess like when he went to space and the altitude, and they gave him the Iron Spider. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Tony shoots it up there.
Confusing. So we will talk about in the crack. We will talk about the trailer for Spider-Man: Far From Home, and we will also talk about the relationship between Tony Stark and Spider-Man. If you want to hear more about that, because that's a little bit of a spoiler, so we won't talk about it now.
Stuff going forward, yeah. But
Hey, we did really good being spoiler list.
Yeah.
We tried
Good job,
our best,
everyone.
but also if you haven't seen Endgame by now, you should go see it.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't be listening to the whole month.
Is
of
it
Marvel
still
here,
in the
but,
theater? I don't know, but yeah,
it is still in
from
the
this
theaters,
point
yes.
on, what are we gonna do next?
We're-
My
Civil
favorite
War.
Marvel movie? No, not Civil War.
Next, we're doing
Excuse me.
Captain America: The
Winter
Winter,
Soldier, the
Which I
best
think
Captain
is all of our
America
favorites.
movie.
Yes.
It's all of our favorites,
Oh,
and it's
so
by
good.
far the best Captain America movie.
Truth.
And we will talk about this movie for 3 hours probably. So prepare
God, I
yourself.
hope not.
We probably easily could because it's that good.
Not 3 hours.
Okay, money.
Money.
Give me the money, money,
This
money.
movie made a fair amount of money.
Fair amount.
It
or
had
a lot?
it had a budget
lot?
of Yes. The budget was a lot. It
Yeah,
was,
all these movies are like, what's the budget? Oh, billions? Okay.
the budget was $175 million.
Gosh.
Okay.
Caramba.
And it made a worldwide box office of $880 million.
So it did fine.
Yeah, it did fine. It made,
Yeah,
fine.
it did.
it
It
made
did a
almost
little
$1 billion. It
It did
It was all
fine.
right.
And you know what? I love Spider-Man all the more for it now. So, thanks, Marvel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I would not have been okay with. I would have forever hated Spider-Man.
And I feel
had it
bad
not been
because
for
it's
this.
my husband's favorite superhero, and I'm like, no, don't make
You just
me.
don't know.
And now I'm like, oh dear, we can, as long as it's Tom Holland, it's fine. You
Right,
know?
yeah.
I'll
Which
have
is
to.
good.
The other ones, they don't exist.
No.
they still doing
Those other
Andre's mind
dudes.
though.
Yeah, of course they do. They're all Spider-Man.
About
And,
Andre's
They're like
favorite,
bad
but it's not
exes.
your favorite
They're
Spider-Man movie.
there, but you want to forget
So,
them.
do you like Miles Morales or Peter Parker better?
That's a very interesting question because I grew up with Peter Parker. Peter Parker is my
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man for sure. Miles Morales didn't come about until I was in college and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But Miles Morales being a black Spider-Man is like, oh, that's me. That's me right there. So I
Yeah.
put myself into Miles' situations a lot more than I
Yeah.
do with Peter, even though Peter is
And
one of the most
when-
relatable characters
And
in
Andre
fiction.
knows right now that I hate cartoon type of animation. I don't like cartoons.
What?
I don't watch TV cartoons. It's
Right.
not my thing. And so when he was like, we're going to go see this Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie. And I was like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it. So he went by himself. And he came back literally almost in tears, his mind was
Dude.
blown. And he was like, come on, come on. And so I humored him and was like, fine, I'll go see it since it means so much to my husband. And damn, that movie's amazing.
It's great, right?
It's ridiculous.
It's fantastic.
So if you're into Spider-Man and you're just looking for another thing to watch, go watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Even though it's not Disney.
It's not Disney,
Right,
but
yeah.
it's up there, dude. It's amazing. So I don't have a preference for either. I mean, I like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to make a Miles Morales movie in the next Marvel future?
That remains to be seen. I would think that in the main MCU and in the Spider-Man standalone live action films, that would come a while from now.
Yeah, I don't
especially
foresee that
especially
being-
since Sony has Miles Morales being able to be the star in the animated
Spider-Verse
Spider-Verse
stuff.
universe. So they don't necessarily need to throw Miles into the MCU Spider-Man stuff. And if they did that, I would want Spider-Man to be way more mature and more developed so that he could be the
Yeah.
one training a young Miles.
Because we don't need two young
Right,
Spider-Man.
two young
No, we
dummies
don't.
that don't know what they're doing.
Bunch of idiots.
Bunch of dum-dums swinging through town.
I saw this video of a little kid the other day, and he was dressed like Miles Morales, and he went to go meet Spider-Man in DCA, and that picture was epic, right? Because it's this little kid, Miles Morales, and then Spider-Man, and then there's this video of little Miles Morales running, and he does this total spider jump. You guys can't see me, but he does the spider jump and lands like this, and I'm like, well, that's Andre.
Oh yeah.
But Andre's not a kid, so
Straight
he
up.
can't wear that.
Not-
Andre
But
not
I'll
anymore.
have
If
you
you
know
wanna
when
go.
you go into the
I'll have you know.
when you go into the world of Disney Store in downtown Disney, it's sectioned off kind of now. It's Star Wars area, Marvel area. Andre goes in there and goes straight to the Spider-Man toys, and it's oh my god, losing his mind. They got web shooters on web shooters.
Yeah, man.
Ridiculous.
I never had.
Hey,
web shooters when I was a
listeners,
kid.
send Andre a Spider-Man action figure.
Yeah, hook it
I
up.
love it.
Oh my god.
So yes, we are
cannot.
doing the Winter Soldier next.
Yes, Captain America: The
Bucky
Winter Soldier.
Barnes.
You know how much I love Bucky Barnes.
You know how much
but
I love Bucky Barnes.
But I really do like this movie.
So me and Ems will fight about Bucky just like how we always fight about Iron Man. It's fine.
Falcon.
Was that relevant?
Shout out to Falcon. He's in
Okay.
Captain
yeah,
America:
this
Winter
is
Soldier.
This is
This
his
is
first.
his debut.
His debut.
It's actually a fantastic
On your
debut.
left.
On your
your
left.
left.
Yes.
So
That's what. Oh, that was a good one too in this movie. When we were watching it, Luisa's like, "This is where On Your Left happened," because they're going through where the
where the Washington
monuments
Monument
are.
is.
Oh,
Oh, that's
yeah.
interesting.
Because it's farther back on the
You're right.
Lincoln side, but
Right.
still, it's all in this.
It's
don't
all
you
right
love how
there.
things connect like that?
That was
So-
really funny. Luisa's
That's why
like,
I-
"On your left."
I never even thought about that. Yeah, Captain America was living there at before the event of Spider-Man: Homecoming, but now he's like on the
I'm
run.
so excited
Yeah.
for Winter
Wild.
Soldier, guys.
Oh my god, I'm pretty sure he's like a war criminal now.
Yeah. Oh my god, the Captain America
Oh,
videos.
we didn't even talk about the
that.
bloops. The bloops.
The bloops. Wait, what bloops?
What?
The bloopers. Well, I call them the bloops because they're Captain America spoofs.
They're called the bloops because they're Captain America spoofs.
That makes no sense.
They're PSA videos that Captain America was, I
So
assume,
you
forced
got
to make.
detention. You think he
Your
was
body is
forced to
changing.
make them? Your
I'm not
body,
sure.
your
Like-
body's changing.
Who had him do this? It was like
And
around the time of the Avengers.
Isn't it after the end credits? It's like
Your-
him doing them. They're like
Yes.
outtakes of them.
And he was like, and your gym teacher. He points to like
the
the
other
right,
side.
and the gym teacher's on the left.
Fantastic.
And then he's
isn't
like,
it-
yeah, listen to him. Even though I'm pretty sure he's a war
She was
criminal.
like a war
yeah,
criminal now,
isn't
but
like
whatever, you gotta watch
Sokovia
the
Accords
videos.
just happened and he's like on the run at this point?
Exactly.
Freaking! Oh yeah, because he fought him.
'Cause
Civil War
God.
just happened.
Hilarious. Oh my, yeah, and then yes, Captain America is
so
is the final post-credit scene.
Yeah,
where
it's really
he's
funny.
Just like, so you waited, and sometimes you don't always get what you want, even though you waited a long time.
Because which is funny because Marvel movies are known for ending
Yes.
credits that lead to
God.
the next movie, but not this time.
So funny.
Very
it was
good.
just so
Epic.
good.
good to have.
So this
Cap in
movie.
So
movie.
you got detention.
So you got attention, and he like sits on the chair with his like
Backwards.
elbow on his knee. Freaking
He's
hilarious.
like Mr. Rogers.
This movie on the Rotten Tomatoes has a 92%.
That's pretty fresh.
Pretty
Yeah, dude.
fresh.
Straight fresh.
Pretty fresh. I'll let Emily go first. Emily, what are you gonna give this movie? I know.
I don't know. I've never given a 10. I've never personally given a 10.
What? You haven't?
No.
You didn't give Tangled a 10?
No.
No.
Oh,
Give it a
dang.
9.
Man, I'm good at 10, so I'm like 10.
You know how I feel about perfect movies.
I thought
The
that was
thing
a-
about this one is that it hits every mark that I would like. If I have categories, it's hitting all my categories.
Yeah.
The music
Yeah.
was really
music
good.
was great.
Beautiful.
Good score.
Great. Well, not even the score. The score was great, but like
Soundtrack was
the
good.
soundtrack was good. I like. Oh, and I love how they did it at the beginning, like the Marvels up, and was
Oh, you
super
guys,
epic.
It's Michael Giacchino.
Giacchino, he never lets us
Hey.
down.
Of
Literally,
course.
anytime it's Giacchino, we're like not surprised because he never
No,
lets us down.
of course it is.
Giacchino.
The music was great. The cinematography was beautiful.
Mhm.
The special effects were not cheesy whatsoever.
No.
The
Yeah.
acting was great. I liked
Tom Holland.
every character. I don't even think there was a character I didn't like. Like, I liked everyone.
I
Yeah.
loved all the kids in the school.
Yeah, the
like
kids.
there were like
The
Peter and his
African kid.
main friends. Yes, that kid.
Oh, Andre loves
What did I tell you
it.
about using the bell for comedic effect?
Andre loves that kid. What's his name?
What was his?
I don't
name?
know what his name was, but he was a foreign exchange student. He was hilarious.
He was very funny.
He was.
But yeah, I love all the kids because like at one point, Peter and Ned are like hiding and they're like in front of a window because the two like bad guys are walking through the school, and then the kid in the classroom behind
like,
him,
"What
he
you
knocks
doing?"
on the door. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" He's like, "Well, nothing." He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Chess,
Chess.
chess." There's a kid like
Well,
a
I
tiger
guess the
suit always
point
running
is there is nothing wrong with this movie. You know who my least favorite character in the movie was?
Mm.
Liz, I think. Like if I had to pick
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
the girlfriend was probably my least favorite.
Yeah,
Liz-
you're not wrong.
And Liz Allen is from the comics. She's, I think, Peter Parker dated her in high school, but she's a person that dated Harry Osborn and became his wife, and then had one of Harry's children, and then that child like gets genetically altered to become a Green Goblin from the future and stuff like that.
Ew.
So
Oh, Jesus.
she has some importance in Spider-Man history, but not as much as this. And I kind of like her as having being like a first girlfriend for Peter, so that.
I know, and
It's
they
not just
keep
Mary
saying
Jane all the
girlfriend,
time.
but she was not his girlfriend.
No, she was the
No.
love interest.
Yeah.
And that was basically they went on one
Agreed.
date, and he
But he
ended
did say
it
that-
5
Yeah,
minutes
he-
in.
He
He
did say
ruined
that
it.
when he was in the plane. He's like, okay, good homecoming, find my girlfriend's dad on a plane.
That's true. But yeah, I'm trying to find something wrong with this movie, and there's really nothing wrong. So I'm gonna give it like a 9.5,
Word.
like 9.8,
Hmm.
9 point. 9. It's really good.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm going to give it a 9.5 only because I wished I liked the villain a little bit more. But in the scheme of Spider-Man movies, it's a 10.
Oh,
You know, like compared to all the other Spider-Man movies.
Sure.
So, and Tom Holland is a 10 as Spider-Man. So I will rate him and his acting skills because he makes this movie for me.
He's precious.
God, he's amazing. Luis, what do
Lou?
you give it?
I would have never have known he was like
British.
Either.
No, he did.
Ever.
I if I saw Tom Holland, I'd probably fangirl a little bit because his acting is amazing.
Shmoo.
9.
9.
That's pretty high for Lou. Nice.
Any reasons behind that?
He's the perfect Spider-Man.
He is.
All right.
He's the perfect
He's
Spider-Man.
the perfect one.
Simple
I
and sweet.
completely agree.
Andre.
I think I'm going to give this movie a 9.9 as well. And now
Emily said 9.8.
she
No,
said 9.8,
I said
9.9. She was finagling. But
He was like, say 10.
the only reason that I'm not giving it a full 10 is just because, not that the action was bad at all. It was great, but I just wanted just a tiny bit more. I just wanted him to swing through the city big
wait.
time
It's
one
gonna-
time.
it's gonna
I wanted
happen.
him to fight a couple more guys. You know, I just wanted there to be a little bit more every time. But the fact that he's still very young and in his infancy of his
Yeah.
superhero career, it all makes
They were
sense.
setting
And the
himself
funny
up for
part
those
is that all
wars.
the action, well, not all the action scenes, but like I feel like 90% of the action scenes were him messing up,
Yes.
getting ready to be a better action hero.
Yeah.
Infinity
Because
War,
he-
Endgame, doing it big.
No, but like think about like how he was doing his action scenes. Even though he
Oh.
does like really good at swinging and stuff, like when he's chasing after the van,
Yeah.
his swinging is really good. Like his
Yeah,
his
but then when there's
agility-
no things and he has to just
Nothing
run,
to swing
he
on.
freaking destroyed that town. Okay.
Yes, he destroys things, and when he's like holding onto the van, he's literally just running into things.
Yes.
Like he's lucky that
slamming
he,
into that brick wall or
just-
whatever.
He's rough, so it's kind of I get what you're saying, but
Yeah.
it's cute to watch him evolve.
Exactly. It's fun to watch him fail. Honestly,
Yes.
throughout the entirety of the movie, he doesn't succeed until the very end, and even then,
It's even
it's
fun
close.
to watch
He
him like
crashed a
basically
plane.
cry and scream for help when he's crushed and it's poor Spider-Man.
Right, yeah.
that
It was sad. Tom Holland's a great actor.
Yeah, he's very good, and I'm excited to see him in more stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly more Spider-Man
Andre
stuff,
and I,
but also other
yeah,
stuff.
we're stoked, man. Stoked.
We ready, and you should be ready as well because next week, as we mentioned, we are doing Captain America: The Winter Soldier. So
Get your snow boots ready.
yes, get ready for some
God.
cold,
Winter is
hard
coming.
killing. But yeah, so set your set your brains back in time a little bit in terms of
A
the
little
Marvel,
bit, a
in
lot.
terms of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This
Yeah.
takes place well before Spider-Man: Homecoming and its surrounding Civil
And,
War
The cool
events.
thing is, it really has nothing to do with this movie whatsoever.
Right?
at
yeah,
all.
no, that's
Spider-Man is irrelevant
It's,
now.
it's different.
But you know who's not irrelevant? Bucky Barnes. Okay. Sign us off.
So irrelevant.
Whatever. You
Bye.
guys.
Love Bucky.
I love all of it. It's not by yet. I gotta close this out. You guys, if you want to keep up with
No,
us,
we're buying the Bucky.
If you want to keep up
Bye.
with us in the meantime, feel free to shout out to us on social media. We are at the Walt Vault Pod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. If you hate social media, you can leave us an email to contact@thewaltvaultpod.com. I'll read your email on the show. I like emails. Send me one. I haven't read one because nobody sends them to me, and it's sad. It's upsetting. If you'd like to help support us, you can click subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're looking at right now. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. We are everywhere. So hit up those places, click subscribe, leave a comment or star rating or review. Any of that stuff will help us out. You can also go to patreon.com/thewaltvault, and there you will get access to our after show, A Crack in the Vault, where today we'll be talking about some Far From Home theories and whatnot. And I also post my notes on the Patreon. This time it's basically just a love fest. I just say the word amazing
love story.
over and over and over again. I post my notes. There's some Kingdom Hearts gameplays on there. Ooh, maybe now I'll post some Spider-Man gameplays on there. What? Okay. And if you sign up at the $5 or more level, we'll send you a gift in the mail. That's fun. All right, you guys. That's been it.
Also, if you made it this far and you're listening to the end of the podcast, you will now hear Andre and I sing the Spider-Man theme song.
Oh, here we
Ready?
go.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, he does whatever a spider can. He spins a web in his eyes, catches thieves, just like flies. Look out, there goes the Spider-Man.
Dun, 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 dun. Bye. The crack. Oh wait, no. The vault is now closed.